This is Shane Mesh with an appeal for decency. Presenting to you, We Have Gone Too Far. Society has really gone too far this time with its reckless regard for human life. Everyone knows it, and at the core of our being, that which only whispered its discontent previously is now resoundingly loud. We must find a way to remove the stain of abortion of convenience from human practice to only when it is absolutely necessary. Since no solution for change is found thus far within ourselves who oppose this, does it mean all hope is lost? Where do we turn when all measures seem to have been exhausted? The answer to that may very well lie in capturing the hearts and minds of our youth. Should love capture the hearts and minds of our youth, the future will surely shine bright. Shane Mesh. Yes, that very generation being instilled with inclusion, acceptance, and tolerance of other views, race, religion, and preferences are the best chance for the future of decency. Today's children are raised in a technological era unlike any before and will interact beyond social boundaries that previously separated peoples. They will do this quite naturally. Make no doubt, advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning will put into question the very necessity of certain human existence. This will have a direct impact on the psyche of man, forcing his reliance on instinct for survival. A predisposition that values life is the only hope future generations will have in protecting themselves from a culture it has inherited. Man is born with the instinct to know the difference between what is right or wrong, good and evil, absence of any instruction. There are no commands, edicts of religion, or laws of governments needed whenever it comes to basic behaviors of human existence. Indeed, man existed and evolved prior to any of these institutions, only to accept them later because of the very inclinations to define boundaries. Wins and losses chipping away at each side with legislation has done little or nothing to change behaviors, only to see further expansion. Recent events have many legislators enacting or proposing new laws allowing not only for late-term abortions, but the legalization of infanticide of a life after birth. These moves are so brazen with no attempt to cloak it as other than extreme. There seems to be no limit to how far this will be pushed. Such action extends so far beyond any human decency for many that it is absolutely unconscionable in their minds. It is no longer an issue of choice, rights, religion, or political power. This is a direct assault on the basic tenet of mankind with its relationship to nature in protecting life itself. Should we not be concerned with how our children will perceive the value of life? Those rushing to expand the definition of a woman's right to choose find contentment with every passing. Those opposing raise their voices with stark anger, only to further embolden their foes. The practice of abortion is continuing, with no end in sight. It is important to recognize that those who elect this choice or participated in it have done so for reasons of their own which we will never agree. To vilify further serves no purpose other than selfish satisfaction akin to casting the first stone. None of us know what is truly in their hearts, whether it's indifference, pain, or guilt. Instead, we should seek to influence that of common concern for future generations. Are we not better than this? It begs that each of us reach deep inside of our being and ask the question, how far are we willing to go? Will our own mortality someday face possible extermination because others deem it no longer useful or convenient? Do we not see that absence of value of life, this would certainly become a possibility? It has been over 46 years since the landmark decision of Roe v. Wade was issued by the United States Supreme Court on the constitutionality of laws that criminalize or restricted access to abortions. Arguably, it remains as one of the most controversial issues of our time, and unfortunately, it will be for the foreseeable future. This very law has been publicly framed in such a way that each side sees their own as so fundamentally right that productive debate is no longer possible. Even if it were somehow to find its way back into the U.S. Supreme Court for challenge again, it would only serve to divide us further. How is it that we as a society can demand respect for the treatment of animals by enacting laws punishing those that don't, yet treat human life with such disregard? Would we not be troubled if the abuse of an animal was a right given to the owner as its property? Outrage would surely ensue. Generations of people are now so unfortunately polarized with their views and convictions as to no longer have the ability or willingness to find compromise, much less solutions. For sure, the time has shown that this is something that we, as baby boomers to millennials, cannot resolve. We will never change the minds of those who value personal choice above life itself. Through all of this time, we have somehow learned to coexist with those divisions on this particular topic, carrying on with life to battle other ideals. We continue to debate, pushing measures that benefiting the political positions that each hold. Every argument for or against the issue of abortion has been made, yet we are still at an impasse. We must find a way, and it begins with the mindset and values of future generations. Some of my dearest friends and treasured friendships in life have come from individuals that have ideological and political beliefs that not only differ from my own, but are so polar opposite in most instances that we should be labeled as enemies. It is our differences, while uncomfortable and frustrating to one another, that makes each of us so individually unique. Shared passions are the bond that brings acceptance and understanding in the relationship. Some of the greatest of life's friendships are formed from a passion of common interest by those who otherwise would be torn apart through opposing viewpoints of deeply held beliefs. Page 114, Mesh's Musings. So, to my own circle of influence, this is a personal appeal for your consideration, not further debate. We may never come to fully agree with the side of each has chosen on the subject of abortion, though we should be able to agree on working towards an alternative that leaves choice with the individual, yet seeks to minimize it from ever being needed. Each of you know who you are, and there is hope that any discontent we carry for each other's views at times only serves to strengthen respect for one another. Mine is given freely, with no expectation in return, choosing instead to find common interests that allows for understanding. We should debate the merits of economic policy, social programs, healthcare, religion, and all the other issues where we differ with the passion of our convictions. Let those differences of perspective in life lend to a sympathetic need to see each other's points of view. Charged issues such as this requires that each of us be open to an alternative so that it should not destroy the goodwill of which friendships are made. Consider, if you please, teaching surrounding youth that while this legal right exists, there should work towards preserving life, avoiding situations where they should be faced with such a choice. All of this may very well fall on deaf ears, though for the sake of decency instilled in each of us, should we not seek ways to preserve life instead of its destruction? This is not a road that mankind can continue without dire or unintended consequences. None here are asked to change their position or give up choice, only that you impress a value for life in younger generations that they may do what we have not been able to. Thank you for considering this appeal for decency. My name is Shane Mesh, and I'm excited for the blessings of every tomorrow. Are you?